What's going on, guys? It's your boy Emo Fisherman back with another PokeMMO Lunar New Year 2026 raid guide. And today I'm bringing you the 4-star raid of Tauros, the level 80 Tauros himself. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, as some of these other 4-star raids have been, this one has been relatively difficult and it took me several attempts. But I was finally able to find a team that was willing to talk and chat our strategy beforehand before we went into it, and in doing that we were finally able to find a strategy that worked. So as you'll notice, right off the bat we have a Sableye. One of my teammates is using a Sableye who's going to be using Trick. We have a Whimsicott who's using Memento to lower the attack stat of Tauros. Now that isn't entirely necessary, you don't have to do that technically, but I think what wound up happening really is we had two Tailwind users at the same time, and you know, our Whimsicott user decided to use Memento instead of Tailwind. And the reason is because he deferred to our Exatu. So the thing about the Exatu is he has this ability, I believe it's called Magic Bounce. So if you notice in the beginning of the fight, Tauros used Scary Face, but thanks to Exatu's Magic Bounce, the debuffs that would have affected us actually get reflected back onto Tauros, which is really clutch. So that happens as a passive ability before our turn even starts, and then Exatu gets to go into using Tailwind, which is really clutch. So you really want to have your first turn kind of look like what our first turn looked like. Other than that, the majority of the Pokemon everyone brings obviously are going to be like the strongest fighting Pokemon you can possibly get. And obviously if you can get ones with good IVs, that's even better. Remember, you know, certain Pokemon are good for physical, whereas others are good for special. With that in mind, you actually do want to bring 1 to 2 special attackers each to this raid. Hopefully they have Aura Sphere or Focus Blast or something fighting that's special. But something like Eruption from a really powerful fire user would work as well. The reason you want to do this is because around like 60 or so percent, 70% through the fight, Tauros gets this ability where he basically changes his stance, it's called. And what happens is anyone who tries to use a physical type move against him, he can like do this little punch on them before they can get their move off. And it does, from what I noticed, it does anywhere from like 25 to 50% damage against your health, which can be pretty detrimental. So you want to save, like, I actually just had one. I had a Magmortar that knew Focus Blast, and I saved him for like my second or third to last Pokemon for this specific reason. The other thing, I know that you guys saw the Tailwind go off in the beginning with Exatu, but you're also going to want somebody else on the team, preferably somebody that isn't the same person as the Exatu user, right? Because you don't want to expect one person to have 2 status Pokemon. Everyone should have ideally 5 damage doers, realistically. So I brought a Murkrow, which has its hidden ability that allows it to use status moves first. So once our Tailwind peters out, like a little more than halfway through the fight, I send my Murkrow in and use another Tailwind. This is really important. Your team's definitely gonna need 2 Tailwinds in order to beat this. But other than that, you're just gonna bring your strongest possible fighting types and hit them with the most intense, you know, strong moves you possibly can. Obviously, the held items that you're gonna be using need to be conducive to that. You know, anything that's going to power up your abilities to the absolute max. That is basically it. As you can see, my one teammate is actually using a Jirachi, and he's peppering Reflect moves and things like that to help our defense, buff our defense. I'm not really sure if it helps or not. I think it definitely helps. I shouldn't say it doesn't help. It definitely helps. I don't think it's necessary if you all have really strong, powerful Pokemon that can just power through. But with this specific loadout that the 4 of us had, this helped a lot, honestly. And you'll see that throughout the course of this fight. That Jirachi that my teammate had actually stayed alive for quite a while. Almost too long, actually. But he was able to buff our defense and things like that and keep us alive, and it definitely helped out. And then that's basically it. So as you'll notice if you watch to the end of the video, we actually really came down to the wire on this one, but we did get it done. I just want to say before I end this, I know I mentioned in the beginning that you want to use trick. You want to have a Sableye trick user. I don't want to assume that you guys know exactly what that means, but basically in this instance, you're going to want to have a Sableye that has a flame orb, or somebody on your team wants to, and they're going to use trick. So they're going to take Tauros' item and give him a flame orb in return. So not only is that going to burn him, but it's going to decrease his attack even further. So Xatu's magic bounce is going to decrease his stats, and then that will decrease his attack a little bit as well. And then if you get, again, this is optional, but if you get a Pokemon like this guy's Jirachi or whatever to do other buffs and debuffs even further, as long as you're being strategic about it, that can help a lot as well. But yeah, that's basically it. I know this was probably one of the longer commentaries that I've done on these raids, because it was relatively complex, but if you follow these instructions, I know that you guys will be able to succeed and get your level 80 Tauros caught and ready. So yeah, that's basically it. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, I really would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. My current goal is to get 1,000 subscribers, and if you check my channel right now, you can see I'm pretty far from that. But that is my goal, and that's why I'm making these videos. So if you enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. And I've yapped for the majority of this video already, but I don't really have anything else to say, so I'll leave you guys with the rest of the footage. As you can see here, as I was talking about earlier, you want to use a second tailwind, and that's what I'm doing here with my Murkrow. But yeah, guys, just finish this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy it. Peace.